Welcome to Revealed Realities, the place where true-to-life stories and unforgettable human experiences are brought to light. If you're new here, make sure to subscribe, because every story we share carries lessons of kindness, resilience, and the surprising ways life connects us all. Today's story is one that begins with something as simple as a sandwich, but what unfolded afterward changed lives in ways no one could have predicted. It all started on a quiet weekday morning in a small town. Life there moved at its own steady rhythm. The streets weren't crowded, the shops opened lazily, and neighbors usually knew each other by name. In that town lived Mark, a single father in his late 30s. He wasn't a man of wealth or privilege, but he was rich in determination and love for his little daughter, Lily, who was only 7 years old. Mark worked as a part-time mechanic at a small garage on the outskirts of town. Life hadn't been easy since Lily's mother had left when she was just a toddler. From then on, Mark carried the weight of both roles, father and mother. Every morning, he woke up before sunrise, prepared breakfast, got Lily ready for school, and then headed to the garage. The money wasn't much, and some days were harder than others, but his daughter's smile was enough to keep him going. That morning, after dropping Lily at school, Mark was walking back toward the garage when he noticed an old sedan parked on the side of the road. Its hood was open, and beside it stood a young woman looking utterly frustrated. She had one hand on her hip and the other clutching her phone as if she had already tried calling for help. Mark, by habit and heart, couldn't just walk past a broken-down car without checking. "Car trouble?" he asked as he approached, his hands already wiping the grease off with the rag he always carried. The woman looked up, a little startled but quickly relieved to see someone who seemed to know what he was doing. "Yes, it just stopped. I don't know what's wrong. I tried calling a towing service, but they said it would take hours. I'm supposed to be at work." Mark leaned over the hood, giving it a quick but practiced glance. He asked her to try starting the car, and within seconds he could hear what the problem was. "Your battery's weak, but it's not just that. The alternator isn't charging it properly. It won't take long, I can fix it for you here." The woman looked uncertain. "I'd really appreciate it, but I don't have cash on me right now." Mark smiled faintly, shrugging. "Don't worry about that, I'm not asking for money. I can fix it." She hesitated again. "Then at least let me buy you lunch. I've got sandwiches in my bag. It's the least I can do." Mark chuckled. "Deal. A sandwich for a fix. Fair trade." He got to work quickly, pulling out a few tools he carried in his old backpack. Within half an hour, the engine was running again. The woman, whose name turned out to be Sarah, watched with gratitude shining in her eyes. True to her word, she pulled out 2 sandwiches from her lunch bag, wrapped neatly in foil. "It's not much," she said, handing one to him, "but thank you. You have no idea how much this means." Mark took the sandwich with a smile. Sometimes it's the small things that matter. He didn't think much of it at that moment. To him, helping someone in need was second nature, and he had no expectation of anything more than a quick thank you. But this small encounter would ripple into something far greater. Sarah drove off, and Mark continued with his day. That evening, when he picked up Lily from school, he told her about the car he had fixed in exchange for a sandwich. Lily giggled and said, "Daddy, you're like a superhero." Sandwich man. They both laughed, but neither could imagine how right she was in calling him a hero. A week later, Sarah showed up at the garage. She wasn't driving the old sedan this time, but she walked in carrying a small box of homemade cookies. Mark was surprised to see her. "I just wanted to thank you again," she said. "I told my boss about you. He was impressed that you helped me without asking for money. He owns a bigger auto shop in the city. He's looking for reliable mechanics. I thought maybe you'd be interested." Mark froze for a moment. The garage he worked at barely paid him enough to cover rent and school supplies. The thought of a better opportunity was something he dreamed about but rarely allowed himself to hope for. "Are you serious?" he asked cautiously. Sarah nodded. "Absolutely. I gave him your name. He'd like to meet you." What started as a small act of kindness, fixing a car for a sandwich, suddenly became an open door to a new possibility. The following week, Mark nervously traveled to the city to meet Sarah's boss, a man named Mr. Coleman. He was a stern-looking man but straightforward. After a brief conversation and a quick practical test where Mark's skills spoke louder than words, Mr. Coleman offered him a full-time position at the auto shop with benefits. For the first time in years, Mark felt like life might finally be turning a corner. With the new job, his financial struggles began to ease. He could afford better school supplies for Lily, healthier meals, and even started saving a little. But the story didn't end there. Sarah and Mark kept in touch. What began as casual exchanges, thanking him again or checking in, slowly grew into friendship. Sarah learned about Mark's life as a single father, and she admired the devotion he had for Lily. She, too, carried her own struggles. Behind her polished appearance and confident voice, she was dealing with loneliness after moving to town for work, far away from family. Over time, Sarah and Lily bonded as well. She would sometimes pick Lily up from school if Mark was caught up at the shop, and Lily grew fond of her, often calling her Aunt Sarah. What had begun as a chance roadside meeting blossomed into a support system Mark never expected. But just when things seemed steady, life tested them again. One winter evening, Lily fell seriously ill. She had been complaining of stomach pains all day, and by night, she was doubled over in agony. Mark rushed her to the hospital, terrified. Doctors quickly discovered she needed surgery. The costs were high, and though Mark had been saving, it wasn't nearly enough. Panic gripped him as he realized the bills were more than he could handle. In that moment of despair, Sarah appeared again like a guardian angel. Without hesitation, she stepped forward and covered the expenses. Mark was overwhelmed, not just by her generosity but by the realization that someone truly cared for him and his daughter beyond what he had ever expected. The surgery went well, and Lily recovered. During those long nights in the hospital, Mark and Sarah grew closer. She wasn't just a friend anymore. She was someone who shared his burdens, who cared deeply for his child, and who saw in him more than just a mechanic trying to survive. Months passed, and their bond only deepened. Mark often thought back to that first day on the roadside, the sandwich wrapped in foil, and how something so small had led to something so life-changing. It wasn't just about fixing a car, it was about the chain of kindness that followed. In time, Mark and Sarah's friendship grew into love. They didn't rush it. It developed naturally, built on respect, trust, and shared struggles. Lily, too, found in Sarah a mother figure she had long missed. Together, they created a home filled with warmth, laughter, and the comfort of knowing they weren't alone anymore. What started as a simple act, helping a stranger with her car in exchange for a sandwich, turned into a story of new beginnings, second chances, and the powerful truth that kindness often comes back in ways we could never imagine. Mark's life, once shadowed by hardship, became a testament to resilience, love, and the unpredictable beauty of human connections. He often told Lily, "Remember, sweetheart, sometimes the smallest things can change your whole life. One sandwich, one kind word, one helping hand, it all matters." And that is the reality revealed today. Kindness is never wasted. What we give freely often returns to us in unexpected and extraordinary ways. So, the next time you have the chance to help someone, even with something small, remember this story. You never know how that moment might transform not just their life, but yours as well. This is Revealed Realities. Thank you for watching. If this story touched your heart, share it, subscribe, and join us again for more powerful stories of resilience and human connection.